What up, El Paso? It's your favorite bearded bald guy, Juan Martinez.
And Jesse Acevedo here, aka Realtor Ace.
The Ace. How's it doing, Jesse? I'm glad you're here. So me and Jesse, we've been talking about our market here in El Paso in particular. Some of the great things about the El Paso is the communities, where we sit, and if we actually compare El Paso to the rest of the state of Texas and even nationwide, is a great place still to raise a family or maybe even invest in El Paso.
Juan, first of all, thank you for inviting me on your channel. So I greatly appreciate this opportunity. But yes, there's one thing, that El Paso is a great place. Obviously, have raised a family here in El Paso. We've got 3 beautiful daughters. I'm biased, okay, guys? So, but I think part of it here in El Paso is that we have Fort Bliss. It's a big Army base. I remember one time before I even got into this business, there was some realignment that was going on, and they actually thought about closing the base.
No.
I was younger, right? So I didn't know, maybe they didn't care at that time, but now to think about it, I'm glad that ever happened, and they actually expanded the base. They closed some other ones across the country, but they have made the base here bigger in El Paso, and I think we feel blessed for that because it really helps out our community here, real estate wise.
And it actually became, I think, one of, if not it's one of the largest in the nation, our Fort Bliss. And several months ago, the city of El Paso campaigned, and they got approved to be considered the capital for veterans, right? Living here in our city. So we have one of the biggest community of veterans living here in our area as well.
And I think part of the reason too was why they built I think it was $3 or $4 billion VA hospital there on base.
That's true.
I know it took several years, but I mean, when you pass by it, it's massive. And obviously that brings jobs here, brings maybe other doctors from other areas to either live here in our community, even if they rent. But I know that when the soldiers PCS here, some will buy, here in El Paso, and they actually own real estate all across the country, where they've been stationed at. So
True. And so even if people are looking to invest, because sometimes, of course, the military would decide to rent first before they actually decide to stay. So again, investors, just living here in the area is great. Right now, the average medium house is being sold at $261,700, where the state is at $294, or even compared to the nation where the average is $436,800. So El Paso is definitely great when it comes to what you're getting in size for the dollar amount.
One thing also here in our community is that it's the beauty, whether you want to look at a resale home, if you're trying to target a certain area, but also there's a lot of new home builders that are building here in the outskirts of town, and people do have that option of buying a new home if that's what they wanted to. Of course, all around those new communities too comes along new schools. It does help. People with technology, they're more updated, and just different programs that they offer. For example, the Socorro Independent School District. Where different high schools. If somebody is going for engineering, there's a certain school that's type for that, or if somebody wants to go be a lawyer, then you go to America's High School. I think the engineering is at Malwood High School, but if somebody wants to look in the medical field to be a nurse, I think you go down to Socorro High School, and I don't know all the rest.
So it is a great place, still one of the safest cities in the nation to raise a family. And as you can see, the numbers definitely show you, even if it wants to be an investor, you could definitely do it at a very reasonable price here in El Paso, especially when you're comparing, again, what you're getting for your dollar amount compared to the rest of the state or even across the country. New construction has been catching up with the current market, and homes are starting to sit a little bit longer on the new construction. So you're getting what they call builder contributions. So if you're a first-time buyer, or even if you're not, but you don't have everything you need for the cash money for your down, for your closing costs, you'd be surprised what amount that the builders are contributing to help you get into one of their homes. And everything's brand new. You get a lot of great stuff when you're building, when you're gonna go to a new build. Yes, they're usually further out because of course the available spots are gonna be further out, But there again, like everything else, there's pros and cons. If you want to live closer, you're okay with the resale. Per square footage, they're usually cheaper, closer to the inner city. Established backyards, sometimes you get that with the resale. So there's pros and cons for everything.
So you as a buyer, say, if you are looking at a new construction, now what Juan was mentioning about builder contribution is that you can only worry about the front end as far as your down payment. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer, there is down payment assistance programs that can help you with your down payment. So essentially, getting that builder contribution, really you come in with zero down. Yes, initially when you get on a purchase agreement, you put your earnest money down, but at that point that gets credit to see if you might need something. But with a builder contribution, well, that's going to cover your appraisal too. So you might pay for it initially, but when you get to the close, that's going to get credit to you. So sometimes I've helped up some VA buyers that at the closing, there's a check coming back to them. So I mean, how neat is that you actually buy a home and you're getting money back at the closing?
Exactly.
But so going back to what Juan was saying on the resales, if the seller doesn't contribute any money towards concessions, or you're gonna have to, and if you're coming say with 3.5% down, more likely you might need another 3% on that back end to be able to close on that deal. And our market right now, our inventory is still low, so in the resales, they're in certain price points, maybe 230, 240. It's still, we're just seeing like multiple offers, not like the way it was crazy last year where maybe we signed 15, 20, but you might be seeing 5 or 6 offers, but again, you're still competing at that point. So that's why sometimes people go with a new home also. Well, one, because everything's new, it comes with a warranty, and certain things are covered for a year or 2 years, but they're not actually competing with anybody else at that point.
True. Another thing, let's say you have already saved up money and you're going to be using it either for your down and or your closing costs. If you wind up going new construction and they're already assisting you, one of the great things you can do with that money that you saved down is maybe buy down your interest rate. So of course everybody knows that interest rates have gone up, and it's another reason why people have slowed down to buy. But now if you save that money, they're helping you with your closing. You have this extra money, use it to buy down your interest rate now. And over 30 years, it's gonna make such a big difference. So that's another thing you can do. Jesse touched on based on, we're still on the resale. If you're around the 240, 250 market to sell your house, folks, this is still a great time to sell your house because again, there's a lot of people that still qualify in El Paso for that amount. So if you're selling your house around that price range, you may even see multiple offers come in for that house. So it's still a good time to sell a house, still a great time to buy a house. So I love it. It's a good time right now for El Pasoans.
Yeah, so even in that price range right now, buyers on the resale market are paying for their own closing costs. So for a seller, like you mentioned, it's still great for them because they're not having to contribute anything if somebody wants to secure their house. Now, going back to some of the new builders here in town, actually are offering a lot of money, like Juan mentioned earlier, to buy down your rate. And when I say that, in some cases, these are between $15,000, $18,000 that the builder is contributing to be able to get that rate, like that buy down rate. Now, folks, just remember that rates will go down, okay? And just even if you buy at today's rate, just keep taking care of your credit, keep making your payments on time, and eventually you are going to be able to refinance and get a lower rate at that time. So that does happen. It does happen.
True that, Jesse. So folks, I want to thank you guys for tuning into our channel. If you have any questions, give me a call. Give Jesse the Ace a call. We'll be happy to answer any questions you might like. Peace.
Peace out, guys. Nice for tuning in. I'm feeling good, Juan. How are you?
Little this, little that. My elbow hurts. My knee hurts. Mic check. Doing good. Let's do some play.